Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, all honor and all glory to the Most High God Yahweh, Bahasham HaMashiach Yahweh Shai, coming out here week in and week out to prophesy the downfall of this wicked society and wicked kingdom, Babylon the Great, and to wake up the true children of Israel to who they really are, the so-called black, Hispanic and Native Americans, the true descendants of the patriarch Jacob, the true Israelites, you so-called black, Hispanic and Native Americans, and to prophesy the downfall of this wicked society and wicked kingdom, to take down strongholds like Islam and Christianity and all that nonsense, and teach the truth of the Bible, which is only written to you so-called black, Hispanic and Native Americans and nobody else. So, like I say, today especially we're bringing down strongholds like Christianity and the false image of Jesus Christ, who's not even his real name. His real name is HaMashiach Yahweh Shai, right? Yahweh Shai meaning he delivers, right? So, today we're going to be talking about the false image of Jesus, the so-called white Jesus. Is not the real image of Jesus, that's Cesare Borgia, the illegitimate son of Pope Alexander, an incestual rapist, and a murderer. And that's who you worship as your God. That's who you call Jesus Christ, a damn murderer, right? A damn rapist. Cesare Borgia, you can look him up. We're going to touch on that. But first, let's get the true depiction of Christ, according to the Bible. This is Revelation chapter 1, verse 13. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man. Now, anybody who doesn't know, the Son of Man is another, it's like a title, it's another word for Christ, right? Son of Man. It says, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. His head and his hairs were white like wool. So he had white, woolly hair, right? Can't wait to go into slavery, can you? You want to hear your judgment out of the Bible? You're going to slavery, you know. You're going to have chains around your neck and you're going to get whipped on the back. And what you did to the children of Israel. Hey, just enjoy your kingdom, because I'm going to put you in slavery soon. When Christ comes back, you're getting into slavery or getting put to death. Little damn face men, little dogs. Run along, you mutt. Mangy little dog. You're going into slavery, boy. Just wait, you're going to be doing work in the field. Damn face little devil. Right, so this is Revelation chapter 1, verse 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. So, if you ever, do you know baseball? You know there's a 3-strike system in baseball? Let's give Christ 3 strikes, right? Do you know what Jesus Christ looks like, the image that they portray of Jesus Christ? Do you know? He's got the blue eyes, the light skin, the blonde hair. Right, so we're going to give Jesus Christ 3 strikes, okay? So, it says his head and his hairs were white like wool. So he had white, woolly hair. Is that the picture that we see of Jesus Christ? Does he have white, woolly hair? No, he has blonde, stringy hair, right? So that's strike 1. Let's get strike 2. And his eyes were as a flame of fire. What color is fire? It's red, isn't it? It's not blue. He doesn't have blue eyes, right? It says, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace. Now, what color is brass? Anyone know? Brass, like a penny, like a 2 pence. That's brown, right? So he had brown skin, but it says, as if they burned in a furnace. So what happens to something if you burn it in a furnace? It gets darker, doesn't it? It goes black. So what colour was Christ? What colour was Christ? No, what did we just read? It said he was black, with woolly hair. Right, what colour? Are you mixed? What race are you? Yeah? Romanian. Okay. Christians. Okay, do you know what Christian means? Christian means to follow Christ, right? Do you know what Christ told you to do? He told you to keep the commandments, right? You know them first 5 books? You know, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, right? There's lots more. He tells you not to eat pork, he tells you not to eat seafood, tells you to keep the Sabbath day holy. We still have to do these things to be followers of Christ. We can't just say we believe in him and that's enough. Can I show you another scripture? Revelation chapter 14, verse 12 says, Revelation chapter 14, verse 12, here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. So you need both. You need to have faith and keep the commandments, right? Because the commandments is righteousness. That's Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 25. Let me grab that. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 25. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before the Lord our God, as he hath commanded us. So righteousness, as in being a good person, is when we keep the commandments. Being a good person is not shoveling your neighbor's driveway when it snows or feeding someone with a hope. Those are good things. But to be good in the eyes of the Lord, you have to keep his commandments, right? When he says do something, you have to do it. When he says don't do something, you don't do it, right? And you can find all these commandments in the first 5 books of Moses, right? Everybody's heard about the 10 commandments. There's more than 10, there's 613, and they're not hard to keep. So all you have to do is keep those commandments, and then you'll be saved. Even Christ says in Matthew 19:17, he says, if you want to enter into life, keep the commandments, right? Anyway, have a blessed day. So let's get back to the image of Christ, the false image of Christ. So this is Revelation chapter 1 verse 13. I'll start at 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow. So Christ had woolly hair, right? He had woolly textured hair like sheep wool. You know what sheep wool looks like? It's like so-called black people hair, isn't it? They have woolly hair, right? And his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass. What color is brass? Gold, like brown, like a penny, isn't it? Like a 2p, 1p. That's not made of brass, but it's the same color, right? But it takes it a step further. It says, like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace. What happens to anything if you burn it in a furnace? It gets darker, doesn't it? It gets even darker. So Christ was a dark-skinned man with woolly hair. Christ was a so-called black man. But we don't see that. We see the image of Christ. We see a white man with long blonde hair. Did you know that was prophesied in the Bible, that false image would come about? There's a prophecy that explains that false image would come about. Because that man who you see when you see Jesus Christ, that's imaged after a man called Cesare Borgia, right? He was the illegitimate son of Pope Alexander VI. And what happened was he had a homosexual relationship with Da Vinci. You know Leonardo da Vinci, the painter? They had a homosexual relationship. This is all facts, you can look all this up. And what Da Vinci did is he painted lots of images of Cesare Borgia. He painted lots of images of him to show his love. And basically what ended up happening was, after Cesare Borgia died, he died an early death. His father, Pope Alexander VI, commissioned Da Vinci to paint a picture that they would use as the picture of Christ. So when you see the picture of Jesus Christ, that, you know, the blonde hair, the blue eyes, the pale skin, the little pretty boy or whatever, that's actually imaged after Cesare Borgia, right? Now Cesare Borgia was a murderer, he was incestuous, he was a rapist, he was all these horrible things, and this is who we worship as if it was Christ, which is not right, because Christ didn't even look like that. According to the Bible, Christ was dark-skinned with woolly hair. So a lot of people say, oh, why does it matter? Well, if it doesn't matter so much, why did they change the image? See? But it's actually prophesied that would happen. In 2 Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 48, it says, 1 Maccabees, my bad. 1 Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 48. Chapter 3, verse 48, it says, and laid open the book of the law. Do you know what the book of the law is? This is the book of the law, right? It says, and laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. So the heathen had sought, which means to seek. It's the past tense of seek is sought. So the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images in the book of the law. So now I even have a picture Bible at home. You go to Waterstones, you go to any of these bookshops and find a picture Bible, it's going to be plastered full of white people, but that's not what the Jews look like. The Jews were dark-skinned people with woolly hair, so-called black people. That's who the true Jews were. But we see here that the heathen had painted the likeness of their images, right? So that's what your forefathers would have done, would have painted the likeness of your images in the Bible, would have changed the Bible, the images in the Bible. Because we can read all over the Bible, it doesn't pertain to so-called white people, it pertains to black, Hispanic, and Native Americans, right? So, but they did this to set up this false image, to set up themselves as gods, to be worshipped as gods, right? It's white supremacy is what it is. So the image of Jesus Christ, where people bow down to that, and kiss that, and worship that, that's white supremacy. Whether anybody who does it, whether it's an Arab, whether it's a white person, whoever's doing it, they are worshipping the image of the white man. And that's why they changed that image in the Bible. When we read, if you want to take it down yourself, it's Revelation chapter 1, verse 13 through 15, it tells you the description of Christ. It describes him as dark-skinned with woolly hair. Right? So it's a false image, this image that we see of Jesus Christ. So the reason why I'm coming out here today is to teach the children of Israel who they truly are, the so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Americans, and to prophesy the downfall of this wicked society. Everybody knows this kingdom is coming to an end. World War III is on the brink. We've got all these prophecies coming to pass. This place is nearly finished. So I'm trying to teach the children of Israel to repent, teach them who they are, teach them to keep the commandments of God, to come back to their heritage, right? So that's the mission. But right now, I'm out here mainly to talk against Christianity and these false pastors who teach for the sake of money. You ever been to church before? So what do? You sit down and they start passing around the collection tray. right? They start passing around the collection tray. You kind of can't attend church unless you give them money, and it's not the fruits of the Spirit. They're doing that in order to get rich. That's why you see these mega churches, they have pastors that have private jets. Meanwhile, the members of their church are struggling to pay bills and struggling to feed their families. It's not right. It's wickedness, and that's what these pastors do. The Christian church is evil, especially the Roman Catholic Church. That's the most evil one. The Christian church lies about the Bible. Right? People think that the Bible is Christianity. No, they use the Bible to create Christianity, but the Bible itself is a heritage book, right, for the Israelites, the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans, right? What's your nationality, if you don't mind? Is that what? Like your nationality, what background have you got? European background. Is that on your father's side, yeah? Okay, so chances are you'd be an Edomite, right? Edomites is do you know much about the Bible? So do you know about Jacob and Esau? So Esau's brother, Jacob's brother was Esau. He's the progenitor of most so-called white people. Not everyone. That's why I asked you your background, because it goes according to your paternal side, right? So one example is, you know, Bob Marley. Bob Marley might be a so-called black man, but his father was a white man, so he would be an Edomite, because your nation is not dependent on your mother, it's dependent on your father, right? So the chances are you would most likely be an Edomite, right? And basically what your fate would be to go into captivity under the Israelites when Christ comes back, and to build up our kingdom the way that we build up your kingdom. Would you say that's fair? You don't think that's fair? So how come we have to build up your kingdom, but then you can just live happy in ours? It don't make sense, does it? So if we're dealing with fairness, which is what we're dealing with, it only makes sense if we build up your kingdom that you come and build ours, right? And that just is what it is. And you seem humble, so unfortunately for you, a lot of the humble ones, we'll just have them doing housework, you know, setting tables, mopping floors, that sort of stuff. But if you want to be, you know, there were some kids earlier who came past shouting, if they want to be contentious, then we're just going to have them in the field and we're going to whip the shit out of them and put them to work, sun to sundown, hard labor. But if you stay humble and you accept that the children of Israel as the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans, there's a good chance you might just end up doing housework, right? You could be an Israelite, you don't know, because you seem interested, you seem like you're listening. Is what I'm saying making sense? So you could be an Israelite, I don't know. I can't really say, like, I don't look like an Israelite, but I am. So what I'd suggest is to do some research on your lineage, find out your background on your father's side, and if it goes back to either Black, Hispanic, or Native American, you know, like indigenous South American, Mexican, Native Americans, or so-called Negro, then you would be from the descendants of Israel, right? But there's a difference between Israelites and Hamites, right? That's Israelites, that's Hamites. It's two different people. Not every black people is the same people, right? They're a completely different race of people. They're dirty. These are the chosen people, right? Here. And these are dirty booty scratchers, right? So if your lineage goes back to them, you'd still be a heathen. But if your lineage goes back to these people, then you're good, you'd be an Israelite. And what your job is as an Israelite, if you are one, is to keep the commandments of God and the faith of Christ. Right? That's our job as Israelites. We have to keep the commandments and the faith. But if not, if you're a heathen, then it's just no good news for me to tell you you'd just be going into captivity when the kingdom comes, when Christ comes back. You can read that out of Revelation chapter 13. Revelation chapter 13 verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. So it says the people that lead people into captivity, they have to go into captivity. That's fair, right? That's balanced. Because the Most High deals with balance, right? So it's only fair, if we have to go into captivity under you, you would have to go into captivity under us, right? That's only fair. That's dealing with fairness. That's balance. Because the Most High doesn't deal with imbalance, right? So it said, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. So it's going to happen. When this kingdom comes to an end, we're going to take all these heathens into captivity. They're going to build up our kingdom, right? The way that we had to build up theirs. What's good? What's happening? I'm teaching the Bible. Teaching the Bible, yeah. So I'm teaching the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans that they are the Israelites according to the Bible, the true descendants of Israel. Predominantly so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans. You know, you find us in the other nations, amongst white people, Arab people, because we've mixed with other people. But predominantly so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans, they are the Israelites. It's their job to keep the commandments and the faith in Christ. And I'm also prophesying the downfall of this wicked society and wicked kingdom, right? You can see that this kingdom is coming to an end, right? World War III is kicking off, all these power structures crumbling, people going mad, the world's just getting dangerous. These are all prophecies for the end time. So this kingdom is going down soon. All of this is not going to be here much longer. Because it's in the Bible. Because it's prophesied in the Bible that would happen. And all these prophecies that have been coming to pass are all signs of the end. So that's how we know that we're near. That's how we measure where we are in history. Because you can look back at all the prophecies that have come to pass back in the day, and you've got prophecies that are still coming to pass as we speak. Huh? Happen here. Probably thermonuclear destruction. See World War III kicking off, what's going to happen is, especially in America, America's going to get it bad. America's a wicked nation. America's going to get bombed to shit, I'm not going to lie. It's going to be a big nuclear wasteland. And then our kingdom's going to roll in, and we're going to rule in righteousness for the rest of eternity. And that just is what it is. No man can really say it, but it's not going to be long. I can't imagine another 10 years, to be honest. You see what's happening in Israel, you see all these wars kicking off. It's getting crazy out there. People getting crazy, people killing each other in the streets. These are all signs of the end. Right, you got the river Euphrates, do you know that river? It's river Euphrates, it's in the Middle East. Probably not. Well, the river Euphrates is prophesied to dry up just before the kings of the East go to war, right? And I watched it live as it happened, like, not live like on TV, but kind of watched it in real time. I was paying attention to the news, and I seen as soon as the river Euphrates dried up, which it has done, that's when Ukraine and Russia kicked off. Immediately after, and the Bible says, the river Euphrates would dry up just before the kings of the East go to war. Russia and Ukraine are in the East, then they went to war. Now you've got Israel and all the Middle East, you've got Iran, and all these other nations getting involved. This war's kicking off, it's a sign of the end. So the end is soon. So the only thing I can suggest, if you're an Israelite, which, what's your background? Is this European or just European? Well, it could go far back. If you're an Israelite, my advice is do some research on your lineage, you know, look into the Bible, see if you can find out if you are an Israelite. If your paternal seed line, as in your dad, because it goes off who your father is. If your paternal seed line goes back to so-called black, Hispanic, or Native Americans, you would be an Israelite, and you're good. All you have to do is keep the commandments, right, and keep the faith in Christ, and you might be able to make it to the kingdom and rule forever. But if not, if you come from the other nations, then your judgment is to go into slavery and to build up our kingdom when the time comes, when this kingdom's gone. And that just is what it is. So I definitely encourage you to do some research on your lineage. I'm not going to condemn you right here, because I don't know. It's not my job to know that. I'm just here to tell people their judgment, all the blessings they're going to receive if they're Israelites, right? So if your lineage goes back to the Israelites, to so-called black, Hispanic, or Native Americans on your father's side, you're good. You're not following? No. Hey, that's the thing though. It doesn't have to be your immediate father. It could be his father, it could go back 100 years. If you imagine, if you was to move to China right now, right? You move to China, and you get a Chinese wife, and you have a son, right? And then he grows up in China, has a Chinese wife and has a son. And then his son grows up in China, has a Chinese, and keep repeating that cycle. You go 100, 200 years, you're not going to know the difference. It's just going to look, all your descendants, eventually it's going to look like Chinese people. But if you follow it back through the fathers, it's going to go back to you. So you could, black people used to rule Europe in the Dark Ages. So that's where I come from. That's where I trace my lineage back to so-called black people who ruled Europe. So that's how I know I'm an Israelite, even though I don't look like one. So your lineage could go back to the Israelites from hundreds of years ago. You don't know. Or you could be an Edomite, which is, I'm good to go. Well, I'm not going to say I'm saved because I don't want to be proud. I could fall out tomorrow. The Most High has already chosen who He wants. I'm doing the work now, but tomorrow I could be back smoking weed. I could fall out tomorrow. I'm going to be humble, and I can't say I've made it, but I'm doing my best to try and make it. I should be all right if I carry on. Because I've done research on my lineage. That's why I say I encourage you to do research on your lineage and find out. You can do things like your family tree, like ancestry, things like that. If you've got like family records, which a lot of people don't, you can look into those. You can find out if you go back. I go back to the Morley house, which was, I think there was over York somewhere, and that was back like, I want to say about 500 years ago or something. And that's where my ancestors come from. That's where I descended from. So, do some research. If you're an Israelite, keep the commandments and the faith. If not, just enjoy your kingdom while it's here and get ready to go in chains. That's all that's happening. You seem humble though. Like I told this lady here, if you remain humble, we're going to have some people doing housework, the humble ones. They'll be doing the housework, scrubbing floors, setting tables. But if people want to be contentious, then we're going to put them in the field and whip the shit out of them. That's just the truth. Right, so I definitely encourage you to do some research. See if you can figure it out. Cool. Alright, take it easy. Cool, so that's the gist of it basically. It's all about who your father is. It's nothing to do with who your mother is, right? I can actually show you that in Numbers, the book of Numbers, chapter 1, verse 18. It says, and they assembled all the congregation together. So the congregation is a big group of people, right? This group over here, that's a big congregation, right? When people come together in a big group. So they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers. So a pedigree is a bloodline, right? So they declared their pedigrees, as in their bloodline, after the house of their fathers, right? So it all depends on who your father is, who his father is, who his father is. There's no influence from the maternal side. The so-called Jewish man, have you ever heard they say, if your mum is a Jew, then you're a Jew? That's not biblical. The reason why they say that is because there's no mistaking who your mother is, because you literally came out of it. There's no mistaking that, that's your mother. But there can be confusion on who someone's father is. If a woman had 2 or 3 or 4 partners, she's not always going to be 100% sure which partner was the father. So that's why they say that. But according to the Bible, you are the nation that your father is. Whatever your father is, whatever his father is, whatever his father is, that's your nationality. When you read, like in the book of Chronicles or in Matthew chapter 1, it talks about people's lineage. You know, this guy was the son of this guy was the son of this guy was the son of this guy. It goes down through the fathers. It doesn't go down through the mothers, right? If you go to any genealogy in the Bible, any lineage, it always goes down through the fathers. It never goes through the mothers. And that's because your seed line is dependent on who your father is. So you could be an Israelite. I don't want to say you're not. I don't want to condemn you because I don't know. I don't have spiritual eyes to see that sort of thing. But yeah, like I say, I'm an Israelite. It's not always a case of being black. It's not always a case of being Hispanic. It's not always a case of being Native American. It's all about, like I say, if I was to go to Arabia today and take an Arabian wife, and my son did the same thing, and his son did the same thing, and his son did the same thing, in 100 years, my family would just look like Arabs. You wouldn't tell the difference, but my lineage goes back to me. Right, so it's not always about how people look. That's a lot of things that we get a lot of stick for it when we teach this. To say, oh, you're racist, you just deal with skin color. Like, it's not about skin color. It's not always about being black, Hispanic, or Native American. It's all about the paternal seed line. So that's that. I'm going to carry on teaching about Christ. You're welcome to listen, or you're welcome to but yeah, definitely do some research on your lineage, and if not, just get ready for slavery, because it's coming. Okay, so see, like I say all the time, let me make sure I'm still rolling. I'm paranoid from that one day. Can't. But like I say all the time, when heathens want to come up and be humble and be cordial, we'll deal with them cordially. We're not going to sugarcoat nothing still. We're going to tell them the fact of the matter. You know, when they're humble like that, I don't like to get straight onto judgment time. I like to test the waters, test the spirit. She was very humble, willing to listen, seemed to get it. Could be an Israelite. But yeah, when heathens want to be cordial, we'll deal cordially. But when they come up and be contentious, want to be little bastards like the little mangy, rugged old dog kids that came past earlier. Yeah, they just gotta get straight judgment. That's just all we can do. Just get on their heads tops. Anyway, let me get back to my lesson. I'll probably just start again. So let's get the true description of Christ according to the Bible. Okay, like I say, we've got 3 strikes for Jesus, right? Let's see if that picture of the blonde-haired, blue-eyed, pale-skinned man fits the description of Christ in the Bible. Let's see. Revelation chapter 1. This is Revelation chapter 1 verse 13. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man. So the Son of Man is it's like a title for Christ, right? Clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. His head and his hairs were white like wool. So he had white, woolly hair, right? The people, if you don't know, who have woolly hair like sheep's wool, is so-called black people, right? So Christ had woolly hair, not stringy hair, not blonde hair. He had white, woolly hair. It says, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. So that's strike 2. He doesn't have blue eyes. He has red eyes, like a flame of fire, because of his anger. Right? It's anger towards this wicked society and wicked kingdom. Right? And his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace. So he had feet like brass. If you know the color of brass, it's brown. The color of brass is brown. Christ had brass skin, brass colored skin, but it takes it a step further and says, as if it burned in a furnace. So there's strike 3 for Jesus Christ. He does not have stringy, blonde dog hair. He has white, woolly hair. He does not have blue eyes. He has red eyes, and he does not have pale skin. He has brown skin, dark brown skin. So Christ was a so-called black man according to the Bible. That's the Bible speaking. That's not my own vain opinion. But there's a reason why the Catholic Church propagated a white image of Jesus. There's a reason why they did that, and a lot of it goes back to money, right? A lot of it goes back to money, goes back to power, being worshipped as gods, right? Because the Christianity church is only out for your money. Christianity is only looking for your wallet. Christianity does not want to teach you the truth of the Bible. Christianity is just out for your money, and that's just the simple fact of the matter. The Christian church is not the way. The Christian church just wants your money. That's why you sit down in church and you're not allowed to attend unless you put something in the collection tray. You pay your tithes. Well, first of all, according to the law, tithes was food, not money. And also, the tithes go to the Levitical priest. We don't have a Levitical priesthood right now. So what the hell is the Christian pastors doing collecting tithes? It's all a scam. You're being robbed in the Christian church. Christianity is just one of the worst drugs going. If you're hooked on that stuff, you're finished. Right? You need to come out of Christianity. All praises to the Father. I was never raised in that crap. Right? I came to the knowledge of the Bible by His grace in another way. But a lot of people that we know have come out of the Christian church, and a lot of people are still in the Christian church who need to come out of the Christian church, right? Because the Christian church will teach you nothing but lies and just steal your money. And that's just a simple fact of the matter. Islam will just teach you nonsense. Islam will teach you how to touch kids, right? Christianity will teach you how will steal your money. Judaism will lie to you about who the chosen people are. Those damn long-nosed, ugly red bastards in Israel today are not the chosen people. Those are the Amalekites, the worst nation in the world, right? So let me go into, what do I want to do now? Let me get into the prophecy. I just actually want to talk about Cesare Borgia first. Cesare Borgia was a man, the illegitimate son of Pope Alexander VI, right? He was the illegitimate son. He was an incestuous, rapist, murderous, damn wicked man. He was a rapist, and he murdered his own brother and slept with his sister, right? And he was a rapist. He was a damn devil, is what he was. And he had a homosexual relationship with Leonardo da Vinci. And out of his passion, Leonardo da Vinci painted lots of pictures as a way to show his love. He painted lots of pictures of Cesare Borgia. And then Cesare Borgia died an early death. So his father, Pope Alexander VI, took one of these images and propagated that as the image of Jesus Christ, right? He made his son the image of Jesus Christ. That's history. That's how the image of Jesus Christ came to be, that so-called white man with the long hair and the blue eyes that doesn't fit the biblical description. That's how that came to be. Pope Alexander VI, when he was born in the death of his son, took an image that his son's gay lover Leonardo da Vinci had painted and propagated that as the image of Jesus. That's history. That happened. You can look it up. I was going to bring a picture today, but it didn't print off. I ran out of ink, so Lord willing, next week I can print that. But that is history. That's what happened. Now let's see if there's a prophecy in the Bible that prophesied this exact event. The key things to remember. What's good? Huh? No, we don't deal with Jesus. We deal with Yahweh Shai. Okay, so let's see if the Bible has a prophecy that matches this historic event. We find this in the wisdom of Solomon. Solomon actually prophesied Cesare Borgia becoming the image of Christ. This is the wisdom of Solomon, chapter 4. And I want to start at verse, chapter 14. And I want to start at verse 12. For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the invention of them the corruption of life. So an idol is a false god, right? It says, for neither were they from the beginning, neither shall they be forever. So these idols don't actually exist. They're not real. Zeus does not exist. Allah does not exist. Buddha does not exist. There's one God, and that's Yahweh, Bahasham, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. That is to say, Yahweh in the name, the anointed Yahweh Shai, Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, and Yahweh Shai being the name of the man that the world ignorantly calls Jesus. His name is Yahweh Shai, not Jesus. There was no J back 2,000 years ago. There was no letter J in the Hebrew language. Right? He was a Hebrew man with a Hebrew name. His name was Yahweh Shai, which means he delivers. Okay? So getting back to it, verse 14. For by the vain glory of men they entered into the world, and therefore shall they come shortly to an end. For a father, now remember what I said about Pope Alexander VI. His son Cesare Borgia died young. Right? He died young, and to commemorate him, he used one of Leonardo da Vinci's pictures of him as the image of Christ. Let's get back to it. Just remember that. For a father afflicted with untimely mourning, so early death, his son died early, when he hath made an image of his child soon taken away, now honored him as a god, which was then a dead man, and delivered to those that were under him ceremonies and sacrifices. This is the prophecy of Cesare Borgia being set up as Jesus Christ. His father lost his son young, so he set up an image of him to be worshipped as a god. That's why people worship this damn rapist, murderous, incestuous bastard as if he's Jesus Christ. That's why people worship this false image. Because Pope Alexander VI was feeling a bit upset because his son died early, so he took one of his gay lovers' paintings of him and made it the image of Jesus Christ. This is history, and it matches Solomon's prophecy in the Bible. Let's read it again, verse 15. For a father afflicted with untimely mourning, when he hath made an image of his child soon taken away, now honoured him as a god, which was then a dead man, and delivered to those that were under him ceremonies and sacrifices. Thus, in process of time, an ungodly custom, grown strong, was kept as a law. So this ungodly custom of worshipping Cesare Borgia as Jesus is now kept as a law. In the Christian church, it's law that you worship this false image of Jesus, this Cesare Borgia, this damn murderous, incestuous rapist, right, who is the false image of Jesus, the damn dog-haired, blue-eyed, pale bastard, right? That is now kept as law in the Christian church. It says, and graven images were worshipped by the commandments of kings. We're not to worship graven images. It tells us that in the law that we don't worship graven images. But now, by the commandment of kings, people have to worship Jesus Christ as if he's a god, right? We don't even worship images of Black Christ, right? We know that he was a black man, but we don't worship images of him. No, we give reverence to a real man who we don't see, right? But they give reverence to this man by his image. It's an idol. It's a graven image, whom men could not honor in presence, because they dwelt far off. They took the counterfeit of his visage from far and made an express image of a king whom they honored, to the end that by this their forwardness they might flatter him that was absent as if he were present. So this is them worshipping Cesare Borgia as if he's Jesus Christ. What does Jesus Christ look like? Do you know? What does Jesus Christ look like? Do you know? He's black. Thank you. At least you know. At least you know. That's why. Did you know the false... White supremacy. That picture is white supremacy. Thank you. Thank you. See, some people know this truth, man. Cesare Borgia was set up as Christ for the sake of white supremacy. And that's just the fact of the matter, right? That's what it is. That's why the base men of the earth, the bottom people, the people that the Most High hates, we can read that in Malachi 1, the Most High hates you Edomites, that's your real nationality according to the Bible, set yourselves up as gods to be worshipped, right? That's why they painted Jesus Christ as a white man. That's why they painted him as a dog-haired, blonde-eyed, pale bastard. That's why they did that, so they could be worshipped as gods, right? It says, also, the singular diligence of the artificer, and artificer is the painter, so that's talking about Da Vinci, did help to set forward the ignorant to more superstition, right? So it's saying, the diligence of the painter, he painted it so well so that people who didn't know would worship it even more, because he made him look so pretty. That's why you see Jesus Christ as a pretty boy, right? He's a little pretty boy. That's why you see him that way, because Da Vinci made sure to paint him that way to forward the image. For he, peradventure willing to please one in authority, that's talking about Pope Alexander VI, he was in authority and Da Vinci was trying to please him, said, for he, peradventure willing to please one in authority, forced all his skill to make the resemblance of the best fashion. So he used all of his skill to make the best image of Christ that he could, the best painting of Cesare Borgia, in order to honor Pope Alexander VI, who was in authority, right? This matches history. This matches history. The Bible prophecy, another Bible prophecy matching history. Jesus Christ being painted as a dog-haired white man. But we all know he was really a so-called black man, right? And that's according to the Bible. That's Revelation chapter 1. And so the multitude, allured by the grace of the work, took him now for a god, which a little before was but honored as a man. So he used to be honored as a man, but now because of how great this work looked, this painting, they honor him as if he's a god, right? When he was just a man, and a dead man at that. And this was an occasion to deceive the world. That's how they tricked the world into thinking that these so-called white men, these Edomites, are the chosen people. They're the base people of the earth. But using this image, that's why when that man said it was about white supremacy, he was absolutely right. Because they used this image to deceive the world, to trick them into thinking that they were the master race, when really they're the dogs of the earth. The Most High hates them, right? Let's read on. It says, and this was an occasion to deceive the world, for men, serving either calamity or tyranny, did ascribe unto stones and stocks the incommunicable name. Moreover, this was not enough for them, that they erred in the knowledge of God, but whereas they lived in the great war of ignorance, those so great plagues called they peace. So they called this peace. They said this was a good thing. It's not a good thing at all, right? This is spiritual wickedness. This is idolatry. What's good?